because I was a really young mom, she probably didn't want me to like just panic, but she definitely knew something was wrong. So she set us up with a cardiologist. I don't think she didn't want to just come out and say it. Her heart didn't beat like a normal person's heart just beats. And so when you'd hold her, you could feel like this fluttering, kind of like a little bird.
All it takes is a point of light, a ray of hope in the darkest night. If you see what's wrong and you try to make it right, you will be a point of light.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Point of Light. I'm Joseph Miller. It's my pleasure to be your host this week, and I am interviewing Lisa Weiss. Sister Lisa, would you say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
We're going to interview Sister Lisa for a little bit, and forgive me if I am going to delve into really personal territory tonight, Sister Lisa, but we want to ask you about your daughter's testimony. And so my first question would be, what kind of time frame does this cover? Is this her entire life that you've seen these testimonies?
A lot of it is more like, she's doing really good right now, like as far as her health goes. But from square one, we knew before we even left the hospital after she was born that something was wrong with her heart. So a lot of the really hard as far as health goes was in the younger years, though. She's had to have her last surgery was for her heart was when she was 11.
Wow.
And she's going to be 16 in May. So
did she you said you knew something was wrong with her heart as soon as you left the hospital. Did she have a diagnosis?
Before, like when she was born, she was born, we knew, like, her doctor didn't, because I was a really young mom, she probably didn't want me to like just panic, but she definitely knew something was wrong. So she set us up with a cardiologist before we were discharged from the hospital after she was born. So I don't think she didn't want to just come out and say it, but she just said, just in case, just want you to get this checked out. But her heart didn't beat like a normal person's heart just beats. And so when you'd hold her, you could feel like this fluttering, kind of like a little bird.
Wow.
So yeah.
I can imagine what that would do to a young mother. So you said she wasn't the firstborn, right? So you had an older.
No, she's our second child. And
the other's Quentin, right?
Yes, and he was a little over 2 years old.
So that, I don't even know if I can enter into that at all, into that trial that you were going through. Can you tell me a little bit about what that, like, as far as anxiety, what you went through during that, the first stages of her life?
I guess sometimes I feel like anxiety comes from previous experiences, like, because you start to fear, like, at least for me, it's in my life. Yes, I was scared, but for the first bit, I think I was in denial, that it was like really happening, or that it would just like, everybody, I think, you want the miracle that, happens like instantly, but there's a really neat quote, by Brother Branham, and he talks about how God heals in all these different ways. And so and sometimes you might question that too in yourself, because you wonder, like, if you have enough faith and why your kid goes through these things. But I did hear that in church too, by our pastor now, Brother Dan, say that same thing about God can use doctors and things, and not maybe those exact words, but sorry if I'm getting a little off the trail.
Oh, that's
But of course you have fears, and and especially as it gets closer, and when your child, when she was 4 months old, she basically quit growing, quit gaining weight.
my goodness.
And so that's very scary. And so, but God he takes you through all those things. I mean, you wouldn't wish them on anybody, but you can enter into, a level, that you're in your journey, that must need that equipment to help somebody else. I don't know.
So did you feel like, because of, like, to put it bluntly, you were going to church, and did you feel like that was, you were hearing a sermon, or you were hearing music or a song, or things would comfort you through that time? Did you feel like he really carried you through that?
I mean, to be
There's no
like,
wrong answer. So
no, I know. Yeah, no. I think the most that like comes to mind in my mind right now is the love that people shared during all those times. Those are like when people would reach out, like, before
absolutely.
surgery, and someone would, like her first surgery, some, like, just how he provides and gives you the things and the people that you need in your time. Like, she had her first surgery in Chicago,
How old
and
was she?
he's 7 months. She was 7 months, and she only weighed 10 pounds
My
at
goodness.
that time. So he's it was this family from another church down in Chicago, and they came to the hospital, and they brought us like food every day, because parking was like really terrible there to find a parking spot. And yes, and so they would bring us food every day, and just like those kinds of things, like, just they mean so very much, just like took care of us. And so those are huge things. So, like, maybe if you're somebody on the other side, you think, it doesn't maybe feel like you're doing much, but you have no idea how
Right.
much that means to someone going through that. So just, that's the kind of stuff that when I look back, I look at like the people that just God showed his love through his people, and, through the smallest things, from something, as a little note, or just the overwhelming love of just people saying they're praying for you, or, bring you meals or whatever. Those, you know, that's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. That song that we use as our opening and closing for this podcast, it says, there comes a time when you must stand up for what is right. And at that time, you become a point of light. And, our theme is kind of trying to delve into these testimonies and find where a point of light is at in someone's life. And so often it's clear that, someone tends to be that point of light, whether it's those people that um, took care of you in a time of need, and sometimes it can be all sorts of things, but that's a beautiful testimony in itself. Um, so that was her first surgery. How many surgeries has she had?
She's had 3 for her heart, and then she's had another, like, minor surgery last summer that was not necessarily related to her heart. But with heart patients, or kids that are born with heart defects, there can be a lot of other things, which, not saying that it was, because it was in her nose, but there seems to be a lot of different things that seem to kind of combine. They might not be like linked for sure, but they see a lot of things together. So I don't know, but she's had 3. The first one was the most intense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had told me, I believe, that you mentioned that she had pneumonia, I think, at one point. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Yes. So when your heart, isn't working right, and things like any, your major organs, your immune system isn't very good. And so she developed a cold, and probably within 24 hours, she probably had developed pneumonia. And this was about 3 weeks before she was supposed to have open heart. And you're supposed to be like very healthy for that. But what was really special about that is our pastor, Brother John Martin, at the time happened to be um, in Illinois, and I lived in Illinois at the time. We were in Wisconsin for Thanksgiving when she started to get sick and have trouble breathing, and he prayed for her over the phone, and just like I don't. We have so much, and God loves us and takes care of us. I mean, not things don't maybe always happen the way that we want them to, but He takes
Uh-huh.
care of us.
Man.
So yeah, she had pneumonia. So, but she was as healthy as could, as she needed to be to go to have open heart.
So that was right before the surgery?
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks before.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that, I know you mentioned earlier about, it doesn't always come as fast as we want it to. Was that kind of an instantaneous miracle that you saw at the time, or?
No, it wasn't.
But she was able to recover to the point.
Yes, she
that
was able to recover, and maybe it was just maybe a little wake up call to just kind of do what we're all doing right now, hunkering down and minimize contact with people. It's not fun, but just to keep her healthy during that time, because it was right before Christmas. So it was she got sick right around Thanksgiving. It might have been Thanksgiving, and so
and
that
the
time of year
surgery was right
everybody's
before
sick.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What a trying time. But I can see why, why you talk about having the compassion that gives you. And that's just full of beautiful testimonies there. I'd like to ask you personally, kind of what maybe you felt like was a time, or maybe throughout the whole thing, what brought you peace or hope? Or was there a time when it didn't seem like things were going to work out, but you knew everything was going to be okay? Was there ever a moment like that? Or maybe did you just have a reassuring peace across
I
a lot of situations?
really don't sure, you might have those like little moments where you might, but it was like I don't really feel like I went there. I felt like
You don't think you went to the negative place?
yeah, like not yet to where you
Wow.
like maybe have to go through this, but like I didn't I you don't want like I don't really feel like I just worried so much that she was going to die. Like I feel like God did give me that peace it was hard, and I'm not saying that didn't go through my mind ever, because it was very very serious.
Mhm.
But I when I look back, I don't feel like that. Like I don't remember that just like terrorizing me. I mean, it was definitely scary, and she quit gaining weight, and your kid's heart doesn't like actually feel like it's beating,
Uh-huh.
and things like that. But and I guess that in itself, as you talk about it, it really it shows you all that God does do in those times.
Right. Yeah, well, that's beautiful. I mean, we get testimonies in all sorts of ways, and we're not cookie cutter,
No.
and it's just as much a testimony to say, yes, I didn't have to go through that terror and that fear, because God protected me of it, as it is to say God saved me from that after the fact, and we
Yeah.
appreciate you for sharing with us tonight and opening up and sharing your personal life with us. But we really want to say thank you for joining us on here, and we hope that God continues to richly bless and take care of your family, as it's clear He has. And um, we love you, and we appreciate you for being on the podcast. So thank you for joining us. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
all right. Kind of wanted to leave a message for our listeners as we close. Maybe going back to that point of light being a person. I know through Sister Lisa's testimony, it was clear how many times people, the love of the people around her, the support, it's important for us to be that to the world around us, whether it's a close-knit group of people that we know, or it's, somebody that we've never met before, and maybe buying them coffee is going to change their life. Maybe it's going to take them from a very bad place and save them from a situation. And, we never know, but I hope that just by the small testimonies today that we could, shine our light with somebody else, and hopefully we can share our lights around the world. God bless you.